They attempted to erase your name, seize what was yours, and rewrite history in their favor. However, dishonesty does not win against destiny. The invisible has been waiting, aligning each component and preparing you for this time. You are more than simply a spectator in this narrative. You are the reckoning. Every effort to suppress the truth only amplified it. Every stolen document, every bogus allegation, every whisper in the dark is being exposed. And the weight of justice is moving back to its rightful place. They believed they could conceal so that no one would notice and their plots would go unquestioned. But the unseen do not forget. The cosmos does not lose what was divinely engraved in your name. What was stolen is now on its way back to you. Not by chance, not by coincidence, but by a powerful force waiting for the appropriate time to attack. You're not here by chance. You're always intended to ascend. You were always destined to regain the previously locked doors. Will not simply open. They will crumble under the pressure of what was always meant to be yours. The moment has arrived. And this time, the world will recognize your name. No shadow extends indefinitely, and no secret departs without trace. What was stolen unfairly leaves an impression, a disruption in the order that necessitates accountability. Those who feel they are beyond reach do not remain silent forever. The murmur of disclosure becomes stronger, pushing against the barriers they created to keep it at bay. The truth does not hide in obscurity. It sharpens. It waits. It finds hands eager to use it. The moment is never random. It is an alignment or force, answering transgressions with accuracy. There is no vanishing or erasure. What was concealed is only waiting to be revealed. And when it appears, it does not falter. The illusion of invulnerability dissipates, not by mistake, but because falsehood is never a stronghold, only a weight. Destiny cannot be imitated. There are no counterfeits, strong enough to erase what was written into existence. They may reach. They may create delusions. However, the substance of what is legitimately possessed cannot be divided or rewritten. It does not succumb to trickery, nor does it fall into the hands of those who want to take what was never theirs. Inheritance is neither a sum nor an object. It is a resonance, an unmistakable signature engraved beyond the reach of deceit. Attempting to acquire it without alignment results in self-inflicted curses, weights that cannot be borne without consequence. The fabric of reality does not make mistakes on its own. Misappropriated power turns against the possessor. Unraveling from inside that which is stolen does not result in ownership. It becomes a weight, a reminder of what could have been but will never be. The pursuit of what was never intended for them does not confer dominion. It seals their plunge. Illusions do not last, and false authority does not guarantee permanence. What is displaced does not stay thus. It demands for its proper location. And in time, a balance is restored with unwavering conviction. No deceit is smooth, no fake is perfect. Every false assertion contains the germ of its own downfall. Falsehoods are not immune to investigation, and no building based on falsehoods can withstand the weight of time. Documents betray the architects. Inconsistencies shatter the veneer, and what was previously portrayed as absolute is deconstructed piece by piece. The unraveling does not happen quickly. It unfolds with purpose, precision, and the knowledge that no lie lasts endlessly. The hands who signed in dishonesty will discover that the ink does not stay faithful, and the same evidence of their wrongdoing will turn against them when they least expect it. If your heart is overflowing with God's blessings, now is the moment to express that love by clicking the super thank you button and donating $20 or more. You are not just supporting this platform. You are sowing seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your contribution reflects God's riches, a present that resonates beyond what you can see. Step into your mission. Be a receptacle for His grace. Give with trust and see His kingdom grow through you. You were created for more. There is no lock that lasts forever, no concealment so flawless that it can elude discovery perpetually. The power of truth is not passive. It moves. It desires. It waits for the exact time when its influence will be irreversible. The moment of realization was not random. Something beyond reason directed the sight, drawing attention to a detail that should not have been neglected. The weight of falsehood pushes against the fabric of reality, unable to withstand inspection from those who understand what is genuine. Arrogance leads to exposure, not just discovery. They built their veneer, thinking themselves untouchable and oblivious to the eventual disintegration. A fabricated claim is woven into their own behaviors, not simply words on paper. It is a link to the decisions that led to its creation, an echo of purpose that persists even after it is signed. Forging truth is carving one's own reckoning. Each erroneous mark is a step closer to the collapse. They fail to recognize that what is supposed to surface does not stay submerged. No power can prevent the inevitable transition. Once the chain of revelation has been put in action, the instant evidence is placed in the hands of individuals who are determined to act. The future of justice is no longer in doubt. Unstoppable, irreversible, absolute uncertainty. Was their first defense a whispered justification? But what they observed was unimportant, and abnormalities were just mistakes to be discarded. However, truth does not succumb to hesitancy. It pushes against the boundaries of denial, encouraging confrontation. What started as a commonplace task, a passing remark, has evolved into something much more significant. A call to remove the corruption that previously seemed remote, an obligation that can no longer be avoided. They entered the space as an observer. They fled with the weight of an impending reckoning weighing on their very being. Every act of exposure is preceded by a moment of rupture, when quiet is no longer possible. The epiphany is never gradual. It seems like a crack, slicing through perception, an irreparable gap between what was previously known and what cannot be unseen. The world in which they functioned has changed. What had seemed steady becomes unstable, twisted by the weight of inescapable understanding. This isn't simply about legality, not just policy. It is about aligning with forces that will not allow deceit to continue endlessly. Indifference is a choice, while neutrality is an illusion. Recognizing wrongdoing and remaining still is being a part of it. There is no error in who is granted sight. If they testified, it was because they were supposed to. Stepping ahead involves taking a risk. To talk is to disturb. However, being quiet comes at a far higher price. A weight that festers, corrodes, and cannot be ignored. They did not choose this course. It was placed before them. And the moment they passed it, they were no longer just an observer, employee, or witness. They formed a power that was braided into something far larger. As a result, whomever hears and acts on my words will be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. But anybody who hears these words of mine and does not follow them will be like a stupid guy who built his home on sand. Matthew 7:24-26. They constructed their kingdom like a building on sand. Shiny on the outside, convincing in appearance, but weak on the inside. They heaped lying after lie, deal after deal, confident that as long as no one questioned, as long as no one examined too closely, their construction would endure. However, a home constructed on falsehood cannot resist the storm. And make no mistake, the storm is coming. You see, truth does not whisper and does not compromise. Truth does not seek permission to enter the room. It travels like a tidal wave, unstoppable, incontrovertible, washing away of all artificial foundations, leaving just what is genuine. They believed they could outrun, outmaneuver, and rewrite the story before it reached them. However, truth has a way of waiting. When it comes, there is no more place for dishonesty to hide. It's not simply about justice. This is about divine timing. Because corruption does not occur in an instant. It dissolves piece by piece, moment by moment, as the weight of its own lie works against it. They made their decisions long ago. Every falsified signature, whispered bribe, each secret transaction. They were constructing the foundations of their own demise, brick by brick, choosing by choosing. And now the suspense is too much to bear. because they never realized that the invisible is always observing. The documents they believed had been deleted were never completely lost. They inserted falsehoods into contracts, concealed transactions, and fabricated accounts. Every single one was documented and recorded, waiting for the right time to be exposed. One truth does not arise in isolation. It draws others into its wake, shattering the very foundation they believed was unshakable. What was buried resurfaces not by coincidence, but by the force of need. Those who pledge devotion to secrecy will not stand together. They will break, betray, and strive to preserve themselves, not out of remorse, but out of fear. Watch how the web they created crumbles under the weight of disclosure, how their once unshakable conviction has turned into despair. There are no definitive erasures or flawless disappearances. They may delete data, suppress witnesses, and alter records. However, the truth does not have to destroy them. It remains in unnoticed areas, tucked quietly in the shadows, waiting in the hands of those they never thought dangerous. It doesn't fade. It multiplies, finding the one fracture that will break everything. No act of concealment is perfect. The more they tried to obliterate, the more obvious the route to revelation became. Your belongings will not be lost. If you are destined to have information, it will come to you exactly when you need it. What they believed was eradicated was never really gone. Conversations create impressions. Agreements leave traces. Every deceit creates a mark that cannot be erased. The reality they attempted to conceal will not remain mute. It will reappear in the most incriminating manner conceivable, via hands that were never accounted for in documents. They failed to demolish because of their own hubris, which caused them to believe they had succeeded. They will see the breakdown that they said would never occur. Unable to halt the deluge, they unintentionally put it in motion. And you've always known. Not from illusion, not from ego, but from an unchanging power inside you. They term it intensity, but what they really dread is acknowledgement. They can feel it in you, the certainty of their demise. You're here for a purpose. If you sense the call, respond by clicking the join button. You have access to special information, in-depth insights, and a strong community willing to join you on your adventure. This is not just a membership. It is an awakening, an opportunity to completely embody your divine destiny and seize the path destined for you. Do not wait. Step ahead. Join the chosen. Deception is never weightless. Those who have based their lives on lies believe that quiet will protect them, that complicity will keep their foundation strong. The truth is an unyielding force. It corrodes from within, unraveling certainties, dismantling the illusion they had tried so hard to maintain. There is no need for an outside force to bring them down. Their own conscience will pave the way to ruin. Each lie they've told persists, pushing against the weak walls of self-deception and whispering the truth they refuse to face. They do not sleep peacefully. They awaken to the echoes of their own treachery, the weight of their own signature, the oppressive presence of something they believed was buried. Control yields to anarchy. Power starts to feel like a prison. The unraveling doesn't start with an allegation or an expose. It starts when they understand they can't outrun themselves. No amount of riches, power, or diversion can quell the inner turmoil. Guilt isn't a sensation. It is a force that permeates into every aspect of their lives, turning every success become a reminder of what they have taken. They don't need to be informed that their doom is imminent. They can already feel it. Every talk upsets them. Every sight seems like a danger. They are plagued, not by an external opponent, but by the certainty of their own demise. This isn't retribution. It is homeostasis reasserting itself. The body, mind, and energy that they function with reject what was never legitimately theirs. They strive to bury the facts, rewrite their story, and subdue the past. However, truth is not as readily hushed. Their actions will not go unnoticed. It will play forever, closing around them until they have only two options: confess or collapse. The reckoning was never accidental. No detail is unimportant. No missing paper is unimportant. Every bit of truth reaches the right hands at the right moment. Corruption thrives in solitude, relying on the appearance of concealment. However, justice acts on a far larger scale than humans can understand. A stray comment, an ignored inconsistency, or an undiscovered secret file are all separate occurrences until they coincide with irresistible precision. What they believed was happenstance was, in fact, the design of their own demise. Exposure does not need force. Truth is not passive. It also does not take any effort to be observed. It has its own gravity while sketching. Those who need to know precisely where to look when the occasion arises. Those who schemed will get trapped in their own contradictions, swept up not by external pursuit, but by the results of their own hubris. They will make mistakes and place their confidence in the wrong people. Leave aside what they previously considered inconsequential. The voices they ignored will increase. The changed records will reappear. What was previously neglected will be read again, this time with eyes that realize its value. There is no one witness. There are many. There is no unique epiphany, only an accumulation too great to ignore. Justice is not a unique incident. It's a chain reaction, an unavoidable outcome that grows with every passing instant. They'll call it misfortune, a tragic twist of destiny, an uncalculated error. However, those who understand will know better. Timing is not random. Exposure is not the same as luck. The disintegration started long before they could see it happening. And by the time they realize it, it'll be too late to stop. For there is nothing concealed that will not be revealed. There is nothing disguised that will remain unknown and hidden. Luke 8:17. There is no stronghold constructed on falsehood that will not eventually fall. They believed they were protected behind walls of concealment. But barriers do not make them untouchable. Walls imprison them. They erected bricks of deception, cementing them with greed, assuming that if they built high enough, they would be able to avoid the weight of reality. However, dishonesty is like a home with a damaged foundation, and no matter how tall they are, regardless of how many defects and lies they added, the framework was never sound. It was never intended to endure. Because, my friend, the truth is not weak. It isn't timid. It does not knock on the door, asking for permission. Truth is a hurricane that destroys walls, a deluge that pours over every secret tunnel, leaving no nook undisturbed. And it does not move alone. It carries justice with it. Every secret ledger, every forged document, and every whispered sentence written into legal agreements. None of it will withstand the power that is approaching. They built their empire on shifting sands, and the earth underneath them is starting to change. The system. They depended on the same tangled network of loopholes that they believed would keep them secure, but it is now working against them. The rules they used to postpone accountability are now the provisions that capture them in their own trap. The precedents they neglected are reappearing with more vehemence. They are turning away, claiming they were never engaged, after cutting right through their plans and the very individuals they relied on to safeguard them, trying to avoid the impending catastrophe. Because when the Lord thinks it is time for justice, he does not whisper. He roars. He says he doesn't need authorization. And what has been buried in darkness will be revealed in the light, not in a kind way, but as a reckoning. And listen, this was never a coincidence. It was never about luck. It was never about a simple series of events. This is heavenly alignment. This is the moment that was always supposed to happen. This is the revelation that was promised long before they believed they could seize what was never theirs in the first place. They believed they were authoring their own fate, shaping their own future. But they never realized that the script was never theirs to control. They were always operating on borrowed time. The ledgers are open, the records are speaking, and the weight of all stolen items is bearing down on them. This isn't only men's labor. This is the hand of something more powerful, unyielding, and incapable of making errors. When it hits, it doesn't miss. Possession has no permanency since what is kept was never genuinely theirs. There's no deceit, no loophole, no secret pact can override what was always intended to be returned. The weight of stolen items does not settle. It disturbs, corrupts, and undermines those who want to take it for their own. They do not have what they imagine they have taken. They bear the repercussions of the theft, and in time, what was grabbed will slip through their fingers, unraveling in ways they cannot anticipate. What they ignored as small details will become clear patterns, and the holes in their control will grow with each unsuccessful effort to cling on. It will not be destiny, coincidence, or disaster. It will be the force of correction, purposeful and unavoidable. They may call it unjust, but deep down, they will see it for what it is. The consequence of dishonesty is more than just exposure. It is the erosion of all they have constructed upon it. What was redirected was never completely lost. There is no finality or absence, merely a pause before the return. The procedure of restoration is not a request. It's a certainty, a power that doesn't need permission. What was suppressed will reappear via unexpected routes and chances. They never planned to go through doors. They never expected to open. The assets they accumulated will dwindle away. Their fake solidity will disintegrate. And everything they use to their advantage will work against them with brutal precision. The unraveling is not abrupt. It is an incremental and slow restoration, a methodical reversal of what was before concealed. The cycle is unavoidable. What is not theirs will reject them, and what was intended for another will always find its way back. This is not a desire or a gamble. It is an age-old process that is impervious to deceit and resistant to change. The riches of the sinner is set aside for the righteous. Proverbs 13:22 contains a truth older than time itself. What is designed for you can't be taken, only delayed. They believed they could steal what was not theirs, hide it under layers of lies, bury it in contracts and offshore accounts, use fraudulent signatures and bogus identities to disguise it. However, they failed to see that wealth is more than simply numbers in a ledger or a title on a certificate. Wealth has a signature, an impression, and a heavenly mark that cannot be removed. You see, when anything is identified as yours, it travels through time and space with purpose, no matter how far or how deeply they attempt to bury it. What belongs to you will always find its way back, and not just in the manner they took it, but multiplied, cleansed, and restored beyond measure. For the law does not return stolen goods in their original state. He returns them, squeezed down, shaken together, and rushing over. The greatest part? You don't even have to pursue it. They based their illusory security on lies. However, deceit is similar to a dam with little flaws that go undiscovered. However, with time, the strain creates a contract here and a missing document there. A whistleblower who was not intended to talk but has unexpectedly found their voice. Then it occurs. The dam bursts, and everything they attempted to keep buried comes flooding out, exposing everything in plain daylight. The mechanisms they relied on to keep them secure would turn against them. The paper traces they believed had been wiped will emerge. A file they intended to delete will fall into the wrong hands at the opportune moment, and they will term it bad luck. They'll say it's a coincidence, but you'll know what it is because there is a rule in the spirit, an unbreakable principle that states that nothing stolen unfairly can ever thrive. The money they took will not remain in their hands. Their triumph, which was founded on dishonesty, will shatter under them. The doors they banged shut in your face will be ripped open with force they didn't expect. They believed they were untouchable, but there is no escape from divine justice. There is no loophole that can prevent what has already been put in motion. And right now, as you stand here, things are altering. Alignments are occurring. The weight of all stolen items is pushing down, and the transfer has already started. The wicked cannot preserve their prosperity. The inheritance they attempted to claim was never theirs, and the moment is approaching faster than they anticipate. When what was intended for you will be returned to you, they will watch helplessly as their dominion crumbles, and you will take a confident, unconcerned stride ahead, knowing that justice was never an issue, simply time, because everything identified as yours was never lost. It was merely waiting for the appropriate time to return. That moment has arrived. Nothing stolen unfairly is beyond grasp. Every bogus claim, dishonest contract, and effort to obliterate a legitimate legacy bears an immutable signature. The mechanisms they relied on to conceal their duplicity will reveal them. What they utilized to their advantage will work against them. What they hid will be revealed in front of their eyes. A mistake has been made here, an unguarded word there, an abnormality in a system that they previously controlled. It all leads to the same result. The truth doesn't fade. The weight of stolen items becomes overwhelming. Exposure is drawn like an unavoidable tide. What was yours was never beyond reclaiming. It wasn't lost. It was suddenly misplaced, waiting for the time when its reappearance will bear the full weight of justice. Every delay, every impediment, every effort to separate you from what was intended for you has only guaranteed that its restoration will be irrefutable, irreversible. Fractures in their foundation have already started. What they held so securely is already sliding away, dragged back by forces beyond their comprehension. Absence never meant emptiness. It was a preparation. The wisdom, clarity, and unwavering certainty that arose from the battle were never evidence of loss. They were evidence of what was always intended to be regained. This is about more than just repair. This is about ascendance. You are not merely returning to what was yours. You are entering something substantially larger. Something is honed with each difficulty. Something strengthened by each effort to deny you. They felt they had the ability to alter your narrative, but now they must see the reality unfold in front of them. Nothing that was taken is still in stolen hands. Whatever was yours was never theirs to retain, and the time has come to return, not as it was, but as it was designed to be magnified, transformed, carrying the whole weight of heavenly harmony. The energy that has gotten you this far has already spoken. Now it is your turn to talk. The claim to go on, to give witness to what can't be undone.